What's going on, Cyberverse Favorite Tortoise back here with another update video. So in this video we're going to go through a bit of different style. We're going to do a bit of a summary of the game. We're going to go over what red teaming actually is. We're going to talk about the plan for the game, the progress that we've made, and what we're going to do going forward. The game itself, I realized last week that I didn't actually explain it in the first video. I just went, ooh, I made something cool, let's do that. The game at the moment is untitled, so that's why it's been called the game. The whole idea of it is that it's going to be a quest-based RPG style game where you go off, you do stuff, you come back, you complete the quest, you buy things, you upgrade your abilities, that kind of stuff. So the basic premise of it is that you work for a cybersecurity consultancy which does red teaming and blue teaming, mainly because blue teaming is very important for red team as well. You got to understand how a defender thinks, because we're going to add in an AI which will do blue teaming while you do red teaming as you get further into the game. You'll work your way up the ladder in the company, and eventually you'll actually be able to have staff underneath you. You'll be able to plan some of the missions that you go on, the engagements that you do for clients, not just be a member on the team. You will also start to see that there's a sinister plot. There's something going on at the company that just doesn't seem right, and as you move up you uncover a few more clues. You'll have to start making decisions based on what you know, and that can affect how the game plays out. So I'll leave it there with that because I don't want to give too much away. But back to the actual gameplay, a lot of what you'll be able to do is based on the computer. So I've built a computer interface for the computer. So you'll use that to investigate breaches as a blue team. You'll use it to run your penetration tests as a red team. You'll be able to access email and that kind of thing. You'll have a shop where you can upgrade abilities, buy new tools, that kind of thing. As you get further into the game, you'll get into the red team side of things a lot more, and you'll be able to pick locks. It'll be a lot more physical, or you'll have the option to be a lot more physical. You'll be able to pick locks, you'll charm your way past receptionists and security guards and other staff members based on charisma and different things that whether you've learnt them or not. I was planning on having a planning style thing once you get high enough in the company where you can actually decide how an engagement for a red team side of things is going to go down. So whether you want to go in physically, whether you want to go in through a cyber means and try and breach their system, or you want to go in physical and plug something in and take what you want. If you've ever played GTA 5, there's the planning side of things within that for the heist missions in single player, where you can actually have an option of, you go in through the vent or you go in guns a-blazing in the front, that kind of thing. When I was playing GTA 5 myself, that really struck me as unique and made it a bit more dynamic as to how you could do it, because it's never the same. You can pick what staff members you want to bring with you, that kind of thing. So red teaming is an interesting phrase. It often gets mixed up with straight penetration testing. Red teaming involves you and your team being an operative, putting yourself in the place of a motivated attacker. So generally in the real world, these are called APTs, or Advanced Persistent Threats. It differs from a standard penetration test purely on the basis that a penetration test is very specific. You want to test a certain system, you want to test a certain security control. But a red team is more about the objective, the end goal. getting access to a certain thing of data, a certain piece of data. A lot of the times we call these the crown jewels, what your company wants to protect. So a red team assessment generally employs some kind of creativity, utilizing tools, techniques that may not have been anticipated or planned for. In a real world, this is really good to actually do, but you have to be mature enough to be able to do it, understand the results of it, expect that there's going to be results and that the results are going to be bad, and be able to be mature enough to accept it and fix it. We're going to replicate some of the reactions of customers in this, and you'll have to deal with those as well. But that'll be interesting for you guys to do. A surprised red team is like a real attacker. They think like a real attacker. They don't just go, oh, you have a firewall, I can't get through that. They go, oh, how do I get through that? Do I need to actually go on site? So red team isn't just about looking at cyberspace. So you do a physical penetration test, an audit of a site essentially, where it's not just your computer controls that are being tested, it's also your physical controls, whether your security card system works correctly, your security guards, whether they actually do something about someone that doesn't have a card, whether they just let them in or turn them away, whether they call the police, whether you have appropriate measures around your server room, whether your staff question someone that isn't normally there. It's things like this that a red team will normally exploit to get to where they want to go. So when doing a red team assessment, you don't just look at, what's available for a computer. You look at how you can get in using any means necessary. So whether you go on site and charm your way past a security guard, or you break into a fence and jump the wall that's behind the fence and then dodge all the security dogs and break a lock to get in and then plug something into the computer and then rough up the place so that it looks like you tried to steal something, then just walk out without getting caught. Those are all really good methods, and you need to think about how you're going to do it, which is why I wanted to implement some of the features that I've talked about. All of this stuff sounds really cool, and in practice it is. I think it'll make some really cool game mechanics. Over the last couple of weeks, we've added in the terminal, which you saw last week. So I've actually added that UI to the computer UI that I was talking about before. As you can see at the moment, you can now click on a button and it'll pop up within the actual computer itself. So I've improved the Explorer UI within that computer UI to use our file system that we created last week. So it uses the same file system as what the terminal does now, so everything should be consistent across it. It also uses the execution permission that we created for the files to determine whether you can actually click on them, whether they get displayed, that kind of thing. So that's a bit of progress there. I've started the Uniquify process for PCs. Not sure if Uniquify is a word, but we're going with it. The PCs now have custom backgrounds based on the company name. So, for example, the default one is very similar to the XP background, whereas the one for Orbit, which is the company that you work for, is very different. So that is all based off a string that we just put into the computer to tell what the company name is and who the owner is. We need to work more on the Uniquify process of the PC and investigate some other mechanics for the quests, because at the moment the questing system that I've got, you can go off, pick stuff up and you complete a quest, you can talk to someone, you complete a quest, but there's none of the interactivity with the computer that completes the quest. So we actually need to work on that and how we can determine whether or not someone has completed a quest based on they opened this website or they opened this executable or this folder or something like that. So we need to be able to do that. So yeah, that's where we're up to at the moment. The last video blew up a lot more than I expected it to. It's been really positive, like people actually want to see it, which is just amazing. I never expected anyone to actually watch that video, so I am just amazed at how much we're seeing in terms of people actually wanting to hear what I have to say. So I'm going to keep doing these. It's really great. It keeps me on track, so we'll keep doing that. If you want to make a comment, you want to see something specific in the game, if you've got questions, drop something down in the comments below. If you like what you've seen in this video today, hit that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. It shows me the support that we need to keep going. But as cringy as it sounds, I'm going to log off. Later, Cyberverse.